All right, we are live with an instant reaction podcast. The Patriots have defeated the New York Football Jets in what is arguably the worst football game ever played. However, it finished with my guy, Marcus Jones, taking it back for what was essentially a walk-off punt return touchdown, 86-yard punt return for touchdown, first punt return for touchdown in the season in the NFL. What a freaking way to end what was an absolutely just mind-numbingly bad football game. Matt, it was so
and
bad.
well, and that punt return was amazing. This is why they drafted him, and it was just
Yep.
one of those. Like you could kind of see it happening, and then there's a point in the return he makes one guy miss, and you're kind of doing the math in your head of, oh well, I see 8 Jets players behind him, so
Yep.
he's in a good spot right now. And at that point, he's around midfield, and I'm thinking, all right, well, he's going to get 20 more yards here. And I think they had a timeout or whatever, and it's like, all right, you should be able to get in a field goal range. And then the next thing you know, it's just in the open field and beating guys and
It's
take
a
the win.
it's one of those things that, where the guy he knows what he's doing. Frankly, he just knows what he's doing, returning punts. Because let me tell you, when he cut towards the sideline, he got the ball, had a ton of open space, and instead of going to the middle of the field, which I thought where he was going to go, he went to the sideline. And I'm like, what the hell was he doing going to the sideline? And he just beat everyone there. He beat everyone to the spot. He got a few good blocks. And then he cuts it back at midfield, like you said, and makes the punter miss. And you're like, he's gone. No one's going to catch him. I think we were celebrating. So I sit in the opposite end zone. So I could see it kind of open up and I could see him in there. And I'm like, he's gone. We were celebrating when he was at like the 35-yard line. We were celebrating it was a touchdown. We knew. And what an incredible way to do it. And for Marcus Jones to be the guy to do it, I just like, it was, I mean, I died. Like I died I think I tweeted out like I'm deceased. Like that's it. Like I just like, come on. I mean, how could it possibly end any better than that,
Yeah, no, that's why I tweeted out a nice little wellness check on you. I wanted to make sure you didn't have a heart attack.
Oh, it
And
was
I figured
incredible.
somebody's got to make sure this guy gets home after the
Yeah.
game with that. I don't know what you're gonna do.
It was, yeah. I mean, I just like, and like I said, I mean, listen, if you listen to the show, like I've been talking about Marcus Jones since before the draft. My tweet is from January 27th of 2022. And it just says, I present my draft crush, Marcus Jones. That was the guy. He was the only guy that I wanted them to draft. I did one draft breakdown. And then I was like, screw this is too hard. But I did one draft breakdown and it was of Marcus Jones. And I loved the kid. And I'm like, this is the guy. And, my mock draft 1.0, which came out before the Super Bowl, I had them taking Marcus Jones at 85. They draft Marcus Jones at 85. And it's just, it's incredible, right? And Dark Blue Gold says that the punt return has been brewing for weeks. It's true. It's true. I mean, you see him get it the first time. He had like, what, a 25-yard return. He had a 30-yard return. Like, he's been ready. He's been flirting with it, right? And I said to my dad before the game today, I said, if Marcus takes one back this season, I'm buying a red Marcus Jones jersey. Because I love Barmore. I have a Barmore jersey and I
I'm
love it.
holding you to that now.
So now I have to buy one. I got to buy one. So if anyone else there wants to get me a Christmas gift, it's a red Marcus Jones jersey. So I gotta step up my game and go get one. My wife, I don't know how my wife's gonna feel with that, but I don't really care. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Whatever ads you're getting on these podcasts, make sure to really engage with them so we can fund Pat getting a new Marcus Jones jersey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
honestly, the thing that really to me stood out about this game though, before that punt return, the defense. Like we could talk about how bad Zach Wilson is, and that's a factor here.
Yeah.
But were you concerned at any point that the Jets were going to put a drive together? Because I wasn't. Not at all.
Not in the least. Not in the least. The Jets were just absolutely atrocious. Just absolutely atrocious offensively. And the Patriots were fantastic defensively. Fantastic.
Yep. The defense played better against Zach Wilson than it did for the game in the Meadowlands. And this is a Jets offense that actually looked pretty good last time out against the Bills and is coming out of the bye. Like there's no reason for it to be this disorganized. And obviously Zach Wilson is a part of that, but the 103 yards of offense from the Jets today. You have to go back to 1988 to find the last time the Pats gave up less yards than that in a game. 65 to the Seattle Seahawks back in December of 1988.
Well, now listen. It's terrible. It's terrible. Now listen, here's the Jets. Here's the Jets drives. Okay, here's the Jets drives in the second half. 3 plays, -6 yards. 3 plays, 2 yards. 3 plays, 7 yards. 3 plays, -11 yards. 3 plays, 0 yards. 6 plays, 3 yards. 5 plays, 12 yards. 5 of those were on a penalty by the which I thought was a terrible penalty on the Patriots for holding. And then that was it. That's they had 2 drives that weren't 3 and out. 2 drives. And so, it's just it was just absolutely atrocious offense by the Jets. Just absolutely atrocious.
And
It really tough to play.
dominating defense. Dominating defense. Could not get and I mean couldn't get anything going on the ground at any point, which has kind of been a weak spot for the Pats defense. And no, they held firm all game long. And then they dropped 2 picks. We might not be talking about Marcus Jones at all right now if Jonathan Jones doesn't drop that pick a couple plays beforehand, which probably sets up a go-ahead game-winning field goal if they're able to kick it and make it, which obviously that was an issue today.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just Well, you had the McCourty drop pick early in the game, which was just like it was in his hands.
First
and he just dropped it. And then Jonathan Jones one where he stepped in front of the pass. That pass took forever to get out there. And, he stepped in front of it and couldn't pick it off. And it's just one of those things. I mean, but man, the defense was dominant. They had a bunch of sacks today. Again, Judon with 2 more is up to 13.5. Like he's incredible.
Career high for him.
Yeah. And what I've been most impressed with is the fact that it hasn't just been Judon. Josh Uche's looked good. No. Penny Jennings has looked good out there. Wise has looked good. Wise had 2 plays today where he let Wilson get out and run because he ran by him. And so I wasn't happy to see that, but that's something that they'll clean up, which is fine. Wise played well on the inside. And the inside, Godshaw played fantastic. Duggar was flying around today. He had a great game. Peppers, I'm sorry, always plays, physical, had a few nice tackles, before first down to stop the Jets from picking up first down. So they just that defense looks really, really, really good at this point. And you start looking at teams that they're playing. The Vikings next week. Look, the Vikings are a good team, but if you look at it and say, okay, the Vikings are good.
By Dallas.
They are. And what does Dallas have? Dallas has a dominant defense, and they're Vikings struggling against the dominant defense. Right. Yeah. And so, it's one of those things where if you have a dominant defense, you can play against anyone. Now, will they fix the offense? I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I know 3 points doesn't look good, but the offense was not 3 points bad. The offense got into field goal range 3 different times, and had 2 missed field goals in there. But mostly, they moved the ball almost 300 yards of offense. They outgained the Jets basically 3-1.
Right. Well, and it's the same old story with the Patriots. It's the Dark Blue Gold. He does have a little cracky connection right now, so he's trying to fix it. But it's one of those things for me that yes, the offense, we need more from the offense. Obviously, they move the ball, and Mac Jones. We'll talk about Mac. Look, Mac was fine today. Was he bad? No. Was he great? No. But he was fine. He wasn't terrible. And I think that what's happening is people are, conflating it and saying, well, he wasn't this and he wasn't that. And I agree. Some of those sacks weren't just on the offensive line. Some of those sacks were on Mac because he's not throwing the ball away and he's not seeing the field quick enough. And he made some questionable throws, I thought. Some throws where he had one in particular where it was on second down. He ended up completing the third down pass to Myers, but he had Ramondre wide open for a 6-yard gain, and he threw it in double coverage to Aguilar instead. And I was just kind of like, what are you doing? You don't need to do that, right? Now, he picked up the first down the next play, so you're like, okay, fine. You live another day. But he wasn't terrible. He just wasn't great. And what's frustrating is that you saw a player last year that I think people came into this year thinking that Mac Jones was going to be a top 10 to 15 quarterback in the NFL this year. And I think a lot of people felt that way. and they've been very disappointed with what they've seen. And I don't blame them necessarily, but I think a lot of it has to do with the play calling. I think a lot of it has to do with the play calling. I mean, look, the offensive line can't block, and yet you're sending out, you're running these 15-yard in-cut routes, and it's like, well, the play takes 4 seconds to develop, and or 3 seconds to develop, and you want him to stand back there and find someone open, but they're not making their cuts until 3 seconds in. So, like, how is he going to throw it? So it's something that I think it's on all of the offense. It's not just on Mac Jones. Mac has not been great. Let's not get that twisted. He hasn't been great, but he played much better today. He didn't lose the Patriots the game, and I think that that's ultimately what it comes down to. And look, I know he's a new holder, but Nick Folk missed 2 field goals inside of 50 yards today. I know he's kicking it in the wind. I get it, but like, you can't come up short from 44. Like, that's bad. So I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. How do I sound any better right now?
Yeah, you actually sound way better right now. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going with the mic on this computer. I don't know I think I have an issue with my USB there. But yeah, no, I thought Mac was fine. He only had 4 incompletions today.
Right.
He was one of the passing yards leaders for today. So he threw for more yards than Josh Allen did today against that Browns defense, the one that has not looked good this year.
Yeah.
He didn't have any interceptions. It was the highest passer rating he's had since the Jacksonville game last year. He left stuff out there. It wasn't perfect.
Yep.
I think some of the sacks are at least partially on him. But all things considered, it could be a lot worse. And
Agreed.
He was pressured. He got sacked 6 times today. He was constantly there. And the rushing game was not given enough to kind of balance it. Like, there were some good plays in the rushing game, but it's not like they could lean on it like they did last year. I think part of the offensive play calling thing is that if the offensive line stinks and you can't run screens, there's nothing to lean on. The only easy button is we're going to throw short passes over the middle or quick outs. And you saw what happened with the Jets offense. That's what they're doing. And you can jump all over that and cover it.
Right.
If you don't at least threaten some of the intermediate stuff and try it, you're not going to do anything. And it led to some issues. It led to some sacks. It also got them into field goal range. It also meant that the Jets were constantly pinned back. So I thought, for the most part, Pilardi, the new punter there, had a good day.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a new slogan for him too. We could
Let's
say,
hear it.
It's time to Pilardi.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that one. I like that. Good.
Yeah.
It's time to Pilardi.
So I mean, all things considered, like, it's sometimes you just need your quarterback to make enough plays to win. The Jets have a good defense too. Like, it's not hard to argue that's a top 5 defense over there. And they moved the ball at 300 yards, almost 250 through the air against them. Like,
yeah, to that point, I'll give Matt Chatham credit here. Matt Chatham tweeted this out. Mac Jones's 246 passing yards today against the Jets was the second most by any quarterback in 2022 versus the Jets defense behind Joe Burrow's 261 in week 3. And so, was it great? No. Do you want to see more? I want to see more from Mac Jones. Personally, I feel like he needs to show me more than what I've seen so far from him this year. But again, it's like, it's not the end of the world, and Dark Blue Gold pointed out the Jonnu thing. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, some of the plays that you just see, and I think for me, it's obviously the offense, but it's the missed opportunities. The play by Jonnu, he gets down to the 10-yard line, and all of a sudden that might be a touchdown. Right. And he may have scored on that play. Like, who knows? He breaks one tackle and he might score. So, but even if he doesn't, that's a good play. The McCourty interception which should have been had, which he had a ton of room in front of him, and he just dropped it. The Jonathan Jones interception, right, which he dropped. He had a ton of room in front of him. Now, I understand that whatever, but like, that to me was interesting. It was just like, but again, you're not capitalizing on some of those opportunities that you have, and that's something that you need to see, because at the end of the day, you get put in these situations, you have to make people pay. And I thought Ramondre and Damian Harris played well today, and but it's hard, and I do think the Patriots called some really nice plays. The run to John, I thought was a great call. That was a great call. The pass to Hunter Henry, I thought was a great call. The pass to Jonnu Smith earlier in the game, where they put the two tight ends in the backfield in front of the running back, and they ran with it once or twice. And then next thing you know, they throw a play action, and Jonnu's wide open. Thought that was a nice play. So they had some nice play calls.
And that one to Jonnu too. They had.
You're back to
run.
You're back to super crackly again. I'm not sure what the heck's going on. Maybe it's your headphones. I don't know.
I have not changed anything.
I don't know what it is, my guy.
Maybe it's the internet here.
I don't know. Could it be your headphones? Are your headphones connected? Is it like a Bluetooth?
Let me. We're going raw audio here. How does this?
Oh, look at that! It's better.
All right. Angry Jets fans are hacking into my connection. That's definitely what it is.
No, it's that one guy on Twitter that says, you suck and I hate you, but I listen to all your podcasts."
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. That play to Jonnu. They had that. I think they drew that up for Tyquan Thornton because he had one of those like long double moves that's supposed to keep the defense deep. And at least on the TV, from what we could see, it looked like he got open on it. The pressure just got there. So that's one of those plays that's a really nice meshing up of Mac's decision-making and route combinations and all that. You have the deep shot with another option that can get open, and Jonnu wins his route, and Mac knows where he is. So he's able to just get the ball out on time and not make anything too fancy, not take the sack. He gets the ball out, and that's 30, 40-yard swing between where that could have been with a sack and where the ball ends up.
Well, think about what people said about Brady forever. He's a system quarterback, and he just, he gets it to his receivers and they run. Well, anyone could do that, and it's like, yeah, but like it does take a certain amount to say, you know what, I'm just going to take what's there. Sure, I'm going to throw downfield sometimes, but I remember when Bledsoe came out and Brady went in, that was the biggest thing that everyone talked about was like Bledsoe looks deep first and then looks short. Brady looks short first and then looks deep, right? And he did that initially at least. And I think part of what's going on with Mac is that he's looking for those deep throws and they're not there or they're taking too long. Mm-hmm. And then he doesn't have time to check it down because there are two guys in his face once he's looking at it. So I'm not sure what's happening, but overall, I thought Mac was fine. Like he was fine. And I know they only scored 3 points offensively. I get it. Like I get that that's not good enough. But they had, 300 yards of offense? Like they played okay. It's just
that's good enough against that team. Like we're not and it's we're not trying to reinvent everything right here. We're not trying to fix it all at once. We're looking for improvement. That's the best game Mac has played all season long. It's the best game he's played. Maybe we're nearing a full calendar year here. You probably got to go back to that Jacksonville game. He did it despite being under pressure against a good defense. I'm going to take the positives out of that. The Patriots are probably not going to face a defense that good for the rest of the season. And we'll see.
Agree.
Obviously, there's some health issues now on the offensive line. It definitely sounds like David Andrews is done for the year. And I'm worried that might be done for the career based on his age and severity of injury and all that.
Yeah, it's tough. If that's a ripped quad or torn quad or something like that, that's tough,
It sounds like Wynn is hurt now too.
Yep.
And he's going to miss time, which is tough because now there's no depth on the offensive line and you're going to have a weak spot at center.
That's correct. So you have Chasen Hines, who maybe they were okay with and maybe they're not, but even if you have Chasen Hines, he's the backup guard. And so then I guess what happens is that if another tackle gets hurt, you have to bump on Wenu out, and then Hines comes in and plays guard. Like, that is not ideal. Or Russie comes in and plays center, and Ferentz goes to guard. Like, it's a mess. It's a complete mess if someone else gets hurt. So, I don't know what
earlier that. Yeah, I tweeted earlier that the biggest guy they lost in the offseason is Ted Karras.
Right.
I'd feel so much better if they had him right now. And he's also a guy where if Andrews is hurt, Strange is giving you a bad game, you can put Karras there. And you can put him at right guard, move on Wenu. He was kind of a super sub there on the inside who could be really, really solid.
Right.
Can Matt Patricia come in and block? potentially as well as some of those reps we saw from the tackles today. Yes.
Well, and then that means someone else would be playing. We would be calling plays. So like maybe not the worst thing in the world. I just
No.
And again, like I do think there was some really good play calls today. I do,
Mhm.
which is good, and you like to see that. But at the same time, it's the consistency, and it's when they happen. You get down to that red zone. That Ramondre play was incredible. That like 3rd and 15 where he broke he juked that guy out of his jockstrap, and then ran through 3 guys and scored and not scored, but got all the way down to like the 15. And then next thing you know, there's a holding penalty, and then Mac takes a sack, and now you miss the field goal, and it's like, man, like we're right there. Like we're in the red zone. Like you gotta be able to at least get close to punching that ball in, and instead of going forwards, they're going backwards. And it's just like, call something that's gonna get us some yards somewhere at least. And it's so frustrating. That 4th down call. Let me tell you something. The most disgusted I was all game was they got the ball 3rd and 7. They run the ball on 3rd and 7. And listen, I'm fine running the ball on 3rd and 7 because presumably you understand that you're going for it on 4th down. I think that was kind of, they're like, hey, we're going for it on 4th down, so we're going to run it on 3rd down, pick up 3-4 yards, and now we have a short 4th down. Fine. I'm okay with that. But then you put both backs in, and you don't do anything fancy. You just run a wide zone play to the left. It was a stupid call that never had a chance of working. It just it made zero sense. Do something exotic, do something different. It was absolutely embarrassing. It was one of those calls where you're just like, dude, that hasn't worked all season. Never mind all game. That hasn't worked all season.
Yeah,
and so, and my disgust-o-meter, you're right, Dark Blue Gold, that was high. That was high up there, like 8.5, 9 for sure.
Yeah. I also think there was the decision to kick the field goal instead of going for it early in the game, which I kind of objected to at the time. With more thought and how they looked in short yardage later in the game, especially with Andrews out and Ferentz in, I think I get it. I think when you also look at that Jets offense, they were very close to being able to win this game 3-0. Like that, the Jets offense was not going to do anything all game long, and they needed the points. So I kind of came around on that decision the later into the game we got. But
and I'm with you on that one too. I thought that it was kind of silly to not try to score, to not try to get the first down there, and then you missed 2 other field goals because they were further out. You know what the wind looks like. You haven't been able to move the ball. And so when you look at it from that angle, you say, okay, fine. Fine. I don't mind it. I kind of wish, if they were going to use the timeout anyways, I kind of wish that they had challenged that play. I thought it was really close for Kendrick Bourne. I thought he was really close to getting that first down. And I was surprised he didn't get it, to be honest with you. So I kind of wish they had challenged that play. But it is what it is. I just figure if you're going to use a timeout anyways, I think they came out and they came out, we're looking for a sneak. They had a guy head up on the center, and they said, forget it. They're going to blitz the double A gap. We're probably not going to pick it up. We'll just call timeout and kick the field goal. And again, I thought it was a cowardly move at the time. Bill has been like that, though, for a while. And the way your offense has been playing this year, and the way, I think, number one, the way your offense has been playing this year, but number two, the way your defense played today, you're right, Matt. Like, I feel like that, looking back, it really wasn't a bad call because you knew the Jets couldn't do anything. My biggest thing was like, if one guy falls down, you lose the game. Like that was the biggest thing for me. You make one mistake defensively and you lose. And they just didn't. They didn't make it. But I don't know.
Hey, the flip side is one guy makes a mistake on that 4th and 1, you don't get the field goal, and
very true. And then you lose 3-0.
Right. Yeah, and it's one of those games. I don't know. It's the thing I couldn't get out of my head the whole time. That Pats Browns game back in 2003, the Pats won 9-3.
Yep.
The year that they ended up winning the Super Bowl, and it's like sometimes I don't know. I think sometimes we expect too much from the team at times. I think like you just got to win and go on to the next game. There obviously you would like a perfect game, and we have not seen one from this team. We haven't seen anything close to that from this team, I don't think. So this is not like a Super Bowl contender really right now.
Right.
But good teams win gritty games. Good teams win close games. Good teams win close games because one of their units just does enough to win when the other one has a bad day.
Right.
This was a team win. And they lost over 100 yards between penalties and sacks today against a really good defense, but didn't turn the ball over. And they kept moving the ball, and the defense showed up. And if you do all that, you're probably going to win the game. Like, I don't think it's a shock. That ending wasn't some super shock thing in that it's not like you couldn't have seen it coming. This is how it goes, in that if you play good football all around for the most part and set yourself up for success, odds are some of the plays are going to break your way. Like, Pats lost 6 points from special teams today from missed field goals, but you make up for it with the touchdown. You're doing enough to win. You're putting yourself in the positions. Defense gets a stop at a position too to set up the punt return.
Right.
Like that. The Jets are backed up a little bit, and you can see the punters are trying to get the ball as far down the field as possible, so you get that low kick, and that there's less time for them to get down the field to cover it, and that sets up more lanes for Marcus Jones. It's little things that kind of add up. And
yeah, exactly. Well, you know what's funny is that right, and what's funny is you make that connection to the Browns game, and I was at that game. I was actually on the field for that game, which was pretty cool. The interception, the Ty Law interception to end that game, you can actually see my legs on the sideline. I was so close to it. I was like, 20 yards away or something like that.
I might have to go back and rewatch the 03 DVD after this and look for you.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, you can see my legs. You wouldn't know it was me unless you knew it was me. But that game, it was like the Browns never had a chance. The Patriots won 9-3, but the Browns never had a chance in that game, and you knew the Browns weren't going to win that game. And the Jets game here was very similar. It was like the Jets had no chance. They had no shot. Never at any moment that I worried that the Jets were going to win, because they couldn't move the ball offensively. They just physically couldn't move the ball.
The only time I got worried at all was when the Jets got the ball last at the end, and all I could think of was, man, one bad play and it's over after all of this.
And I thought the refs were terrible today. So then you wonder, like, if Zach Wilson just chucks one up there and the Patriots get called for like some defensive pass interference or something, and then all of a sudden, they're in field goal range. Like, it's just, that's the type of stuff that I was worried about. But them moving the ball offensively, like, I just never thought that they were going to be able to do it, and they didn't do it.
No, it was just one of those games. You got to win in multiple ways. Most games are not going to feature everything coming together at the same time. It's about being able to do enough to win week after week, and the good teams are the ones that have more in their arsenal to win. The Patriots team does not have this huge arsenal of things they can do to win games, but it does have a couple of things that it's really good at. Here's a stat for you. I think if I have this right now, Mac Jones is 9-1 as a starter when he doesn't throw a pick. The one loss was the opener against Miami, his first season.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have won that game if not for Damian Harris at the fumble.
Very true. Very true.
That's kind of the game plan here. If Mac can give you a game like this, basically every game the rest of the season, the offense is not going to get sacked as much. It shouldn't against the pass rushes that they're going to be seeing. And they'll win more than half the games, and that should get them into the playoffs. Then this will be a playoff team.
I mean, look, you're 6-4. Right, you're 2 games above 500. You're out of the basement. You're not in last place anymore. You got 2 wins against the Jets. And, if you can steal a game against the Bills and you can beat the Dolphins, you have a legitimate chance of making the playoffs. And, of course, you have to win some of those other games, obviously. But, like, I really just look at it and think, man, the Patriots have a shot. They have a real shot this year of getting into the playoffs. And then when you have a great defense, which the Patriots, I think at this point, it's safe to say the Patriots have a great defense. They do. They can go out there and give it to anyone.
They've had some bad days on the whole, yeah.
Yep. Right. And so that's the thing. Now running quarterbacks, they've had a challenge with that. So if assuming Kyler is healthy when they play him, which I'm sure he will be by that point, fine. Okay, that's good.
But Kyler doesn't run in the same way that Justin Fields does.
No, he does
not in the same way that Lamar Jackson
and they might have a coach by then too.
Yeah, the running quarterback I'm concerned about is Josh Allen. Because Kyler, even if he runs on you, he's probably gonna make a mistake somewhere, might throw a pick, and we'll see what happens there. I think this team is fine against scrambling QBs who like to scramble so that they can throw the ball, and they've. Shout out to all of the edge guys for being better in contain. There were only, I think, 2 moments today where they let Zach Wilson get away. That's an improvement. And
Yeah,
I mean, you bring this defensive effort against the Cardinals. Cardinals are not going to be. They're going to be under 20 points for that game.
that's correct. Yep. And so you need to
if they
score offensively,
Yeah, and if the defense plays like this the rest of the season, they will hold every opponent but Buffalo under 20. And I don't know what's going to happen in the Buffalo games, which means the offense is going to have a chance to win all of them.
Right. Right. And that's what it comes down to. All you're looking for is a chance. Just give us an opportunity to win. And this defense is going to put you in a position to win. Now, again, will you win? We don't know. But it's going to at least put you in a position to win. And a great defense, to me, a great defense makes such a difference when you're talking about, this guy and that guy and so on and so forth. Like, I just think a great defense is better than a great offense sometimes, especially in the playoffs, because we've seen it. We've seen it happen. Look, let's not get crazy, but the 2007 New York Giants and the 2011 New York Giants, both times, Tom Coughlin, they were talking about firing Tom Coughlin in the middle of the season. That's a fact. They were talking about firing Tom Coughlin in the middle of the season. Those teams both stunk. They stunk. They were not good. And what happened? The defense just stepped up, played great, and the offense did just enough.
Yep.
And why couldn't the Patriots do that? Now, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's insane. But I don't know. If the defense plays this well and continues to play this well, then you never know. You just don't know. And that's what it comes down. I mean, look at the 0-1 team. The 0-1 team scored 3 offensive touchdowns. No, 3? Was it 3 offensive touchdowns or 2?
Yeah.
I think it was 3. 3 offensive touchdowns. They scored 3 offensive touchdowns.
They had the Brady rush.
The Brady run. They had the David
Patton.
and the two David Patton touchdowns, one from Bledsoe, one from Brady. They scored 1 offensive touchdown in each game they played. 1. And they crushed the Steelers because they had a punt return for touchdown and a block kick return for touchdown. So this is what they do. This is what they've done. This has been a recipe for success for them, for years. And so, it's one of those things that if the defense plays well, yes, if we channel the 0-1 Patriots, we'll be fine. I mean, that's simple. But it's a recipe for success in the NFL, not just with the Patriots, in the NFL. If you have a great defense, it gives you a chance in any game. Again, are you going to win the Super Bowl? I mean, probably not. There's a 99% chance you're not going to win, but there's a chance at least with a defense this good.
And here's the thing. If you talk to any Cincinnati fan at this point last season, none of them would have thought that team had a chance to go into the Super Bowl. Nobody thought they were going to go into Tennessee and Kansas City and get wins. And those were close games where they happened to make plays. This team has playmakers on defense, and this team has an elite defense, and it can do things to make games close. And you just got to get a little bit lucky. They're in this. Heck, they're 6-4. They're 1 game out of the division lead heading into Thanksgiving, and that's with 3.5 games played from their backup. If you told any of us that in August, we'd all be thrilled.
Exactly. And that's
it hasn't been pretty. There's room for improvement, but it hasn't been pretty for anybody in the NFL this year. I'm very content to celebrate my win, go into Thanksgiving, and see how this team looks against the Vikings.
Right. And I think that's kind of the biggest point is that they're not playing their best football right now. They're not. And yet they're still 6-4 with an opportunity now to even make a run at the division title, which is crazy. But that's one of the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if the Patriots win in Minnesota, depending on obviously what happens with Miami, that game against Buffalo on December 1st is then for a share of the division lead, worst case.
What is going on there? You're right. And so it's, there's a chance. And again, is it likely? No, it's not likely. I think one of these things that you sit here and talk about is, there's a chance and there's this and there's that. We're not saying that they're like the favorites to do any of this stuff. We're not saying that. But we are saying if they can figure it out offensively and just be a little bit better, well, then it gives you a chance, and that's all you can really ask for. And I thought that they did a better job involving Bourne at times. At times, not enough. I still don't think it was enough, but at times they did a better. He may have did he only have that 1 catch? I thought he had another one.
He
Maybe he
may
didn't.
have actually.
Um,
I gotta look at the actual receiver stats here and see how it ended up breaking down.
but it's one of those things for me that I just think like so my let's see, Bourne, yeah, just the one catch.
Mhm.
But the thing for me, and I know Miami's very different, but Miami, when I look at Miami, I say, okay, look what they're doing. They have two insanely fast guys, and they're just getting them the ball. They're just throwing the ball to them, right? And maybe you can't trust Tyquan Thornton yet. Maybe it's a Tyquan thing, and you can't trust him yet. I don't know that. I don't know the in and outs of that. He had a bad play today where he didn't fumble, but he almost fumbled. Got to hold on to that ball. He's got to hold on to that ball. It was a nice play by Sauce Gardner, but still, so maybe you don't trust him. Fine. But, at the very least, where I look at it, I just sit there and say, like, man, get him the ball. Just throw him the ball and just let him run. Like, I don't see why they're not doing more of those crossing routes with him and trying to get him open, And so that's the hard thing for me is I start questioning some of that stuff. Jacoby played really well. Jonnu Smith had 4 catches. Like it's, all of a sudden,
7 different receivers had a catch go for at least 10 yards today. They had a 30-yard run in there from Damian Harris, who had maybe his best game of the season. One of his best games of the season today. And
he looked healthy. Finally, really healthy today.
Yeah, and that's the strength of this skill group is its depth. The fact that they can throw a lot of different personnel groupings out there, and they have a lot of guys who can do a lot well. Obviously, all these guys are flawed, but they have a lot of guys who can do stuff well, and it's just putting them out there. I think that Bourne catch, which ended up not going for a first down, Bourne went down a little bit early, and that's what ended up leading to the field goal. But you know what I liked about it? Matt gets pressured, senses it well, rolls out, resets, and finds the open guy. And he was on the same page with Bourne, and they figured it out, and you pick up yards. And they had a couple of plays like that today. But that's what
a similar play where he missed. Similar play where he missed Jacoby, right?
Yeah.
Where he rolls out to his right, and he didn't set his feet, and then threw it at Jacoby's feet. I know he's trying to get it low, so Jacoby doesn't get hit from the guy coming from the outside, but it wasn't great. I wish he kind of set his feet there and taken his time because he had time to throw that, and he just missed it. And that's going to happen. Sometimes it's going to happen. He's going to miss guys, but I would like to see.
And here's the thing, and that's where Mac, at least in this point in his career, isn't going to be the guy. He's not Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he ever will be. So that means that you need the guys to not have drops. You need the guys to not fumble the ball. You need less penalties. You need less sacks. You need the rest of the team to also show up. We're very close to having 6 or 7 receiver fumbles lost today with that Tyquan drop, and then Jonnu Smith doing whatever that play was, which I really tried hard to flush out of my memory, where he just lost the ball switching arms there.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's just these skill position players can make plays. They just haven't shown they can do it without messing up in the process. I think the same goes for the offensive line. The offensive line did have a couple surprisingly really nice plays today where they blocked stuff up for a little bit. It's not all bad. In fact, the offensive line is decent in most of the plays. The problem is the plays when they aren't are usually big ones, and the plays where they aren't are usually really bad ones. When they give up pressure, it's quick, and you don't know which side it's coming from, which makes it hard for Mac. He can't. It's not like you can say, okay, we're just gonna have this one guy chip, or we're just gonna have help to this one direction. No, they're all messing up. All those guys on the line, except for Onwenu.
Right.
It just makes it harder for adjusting it from a coaching perspective and from Mac's perspective of trying to know which direction he might get hit from. Obviously, that's going to make life difficult. So, I think they played a tough physical game against a good team in cold weather, hard-nosed AFC East football, and with a couple other bounces going their way, this game is 9-3 or 17-3 at the end, and the punt doesn't even matter. Windy conditions too, Dark Blue Gold mentioned.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. The bounces ended up being kind of 50-50 today, and Patriots played better. So when the bounces were 50-50 and the big plays were 50-50, it's the Patriots who end up on the right side of things.
Right. And that's That's ultimately what it comes down to, right? I just think that the Patriots have enough. They have enough defensively to keep you in the game, and offensively they played well enough,
Yeah.
right? And I think that you'd like to see more. You'd like to see them get in the red zone and not screw up when they get in the red zone. But like, what are you gonna do? It's still a work in progress. I'd like to see them come out with more plays. Look, that play to Jonnu was an awesome play call. It was a great play call to Jonnu Smith on 3rd and 1. I loved that play call. Then it's just like he's got to hold on to the football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things that, like, for me, that he could have scored. Now he may not have scored on that play, but he could have. If he breaks one tackle, he scores a touchdown on that play. And now all of a sudden it's not 3-0, it's 7-0, right? So of course that one led to the field goal. So it's missed opportunities. It's guys not making plays even when they're put in the right position. And I thought it was better offensively today, but it's still like sometimes I just don't. I don't know. Why are we doing these long drops with these long routes? It just, I don't know. That's the stuff that drives me crazy. So it is what it is, and we'll see. It's a short week this week. You coming in, you got to go into Minnesota. Minnesota's feeling like crap because they're getting the crap kicked out of them right now by Dallas.
Yeah, I think this is one of those weeks where having a short week might actually be beneficial because you did just play a decent game. And it was tough and it was physical, but now you get to go on a road for a primetime game, and it's going to be in a dome, and it'll kind of be, I mean, the Vikings are not going to have time to make adjustments really after this one. Neither team can do real serious stuff here. And the Patriots played a better game today than the Vikings are playing right now. So if these teams bring the same level of game, the Patriots would beat them, I think. So it's just a matter of actually bringing them. I'm sure the Vikings are going to come out fired up because any team will when they're trying to bounce back after a loss. Yes. It's a good team over there. They have a winning record for a reason. They do a lot right.
Well, and Darisaw is out with a concussion, so you'd have to assume that he's going to be out again on Thursday. If he has a concussion, you would imagine he can't clear concussion protocol.
You would think that any NFL player would not be able to play on a Thursday night if they had concussion symptoms on a Sunday. But
it is the NFL, so you never know. But after the Tua fiasco, I can't imagine. But who knows? You never know.
You can't know.
But we'll see. We'll see. It is a short week for the Patriots, but it's nice. They get a short week, and then you play Buffalo on a Thursday night. But it is nice because you have a full week off before that Buffalo game, which is good.
It's basically it'll almost be like a Sunday night game for those teams that's going to play with the schedule. Right. So
yeah, and it's going to be interesting. And Kirk Cousins, I believe now, is 10-21 in games starting after 4:00. So not good. Not good. He is bad. He is officially bad Kirk Cousins in night games, and here we are.
I think we're gonna have to get we're gonna be on Jack Jones watch Thursday night.
Oh yes. Well, he had that one play today where it was like, what are you doing, dude? Like he just threw a pop fly and he just
I think what happened, I'll have to rewatch that, but it felt like the ball just got caught up in the wind and came back way shorter than he expected, and the receiver.
And maybe that's right. Maybe that's true. Maybe that is true, But yeah, that's one of those where I was kind of like, dude, he just threw a pop fly. Like he just could have just jumped up and picked it off. But it is what it is. And that's one of those things where it's like you live with that. He's a rookie. Maybe he made a bad read on the ball or whatever the case may be. But for whatever reason, he didn't get there. So, I think you saw another Jets team is good. This Jets defense is a good defense, and the Patriots were able to move the ball, and they weren't able to put the ball in the end zone, but they were able to move the ball. So I think that they can move the ball against pretty much anyone. It's just a question of whether they can score or not. When you get down to the red zone, what can you do in the red area? And that's really a question that they really have to answer still.
Yeah, and honestly, if the defense plays like that, they can win a lot of games with field goals.
Correct.
You don't even need touchdowns every time. Heck, if this game was played in a dome today, they probably win 9-3. Just you don't have to worry about that. Right? So you go to Minnesota, and if you can get one or two more drives of field goals, and if you can get one more field goal, we have one more field goal attempt, maybe make 4 of them and get one touchdown in there, I think that is totally doable for this offense. Yeah. And we do some quick math. Hey, you're in the 20-point range.
Yeah.
I feel good about that with this defense.
Right. Well, and Darpo Gold's asking about the holder. It was a new punter, so Pilardi was the holder. I don't know how much of an impact that is. I do think it's some of an impact though. You
Yeah,
can't say it was
I'm,
no impact. So I
yeah,
think there was
I'm
some
no,
impact there. I just don't know how much.
yeah, I'm no kicking expert, so I'm not gonna try to speculate too much. But mess
Yeah.
like that's the whole Bailey Cardona Folk thing. What are we on? Like year 3 of the 3 of those
Yeah.
guys working together in that. So interrupting that's always going to be an adjustment. If it was an issue today, I suspect they'll be in a better situation come
You
Thursday
would
night.
think. Yeah, you would think. So
Couple
we'll
more
see.
days.
And here's what I'll say. And I want to kind of finish on this. We may not be sure about Mac Jones. I'm not sure about Mac Jones. I'm not sure if Mac Jones is the guy. I don't know if he is or not. What I can tell you is that we're in a better position than the Jets are, because I can tell you right now that Zach Wilson, as I said, the second he was drafted, he is not the guy. And that's pretty obvious that he is not the
The
guy.
last, yeah,
You know,
I still can't believe he went as high as he did. Yeah, in that
it's
draft. That
insane.
never made sense to me.
Made no sense. And
Yeah.
the Trey Lance one didn't make any sense either. I just thought Fields was the second best quarterback in that draft. Fields should have gone number 2. Easily should have gone number 2. And you could have made the argument that Mac should have gone number 3, because he's the type of quarterback that he wants for that system. It makes no sense to put Trey Lance in that system. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It makes no sense.
I
Why are you putting Trey Lance in that system? It's crazy.
I had Lawrence at 1, Fields at 2, Lance at 3, Mac at 4, and Zach Wilson at 5.
Yeah.
And I really liked Trey Lance, so I kind of got the hype on him. But yeah, Zach Wilson felt like Mormon Johnny Manziel, like just
Well, I mean,
it's the same type of play. And has that
yeah,
guy ever translated?
no, and he's not just that, but he played like crap against every single good team. Anytime
Yeah.
BYU played a good team, he played like crap. Every single time. He had 5 seconds to throw in every play. If he gets pressure in his face, he is an absolute mess if he gets pressure in his face. And it's the NFL. You're going to have pressure in your face most days, right? So it's like, you kind of have to deal with that. And he hasn't figured out a way to deal with it. Now, listen, here's what I'll say. Josh Allen could not fall out of a boat and hit water his first 2 seasons. So it is a possibility that you can somehow coach him up. It's unlikely, but there is a possibility. After Josh Allen, you kind of have to say, well, I mean, there's a chance at least. He's got a hell of an arm. He can sling it, and it's effortless for him. It just comes out real quick. But he has no idea where the hell it's going. He airmailed one over Braxton Berrios' head, where I was like, "What are you doing, dude? Berrios is in the backfield by himself. Like, what do you the throw to the interception that McCourty dropped? That guy was wide open across the middle, and he just chucked it over his head. It's just like, what are you doing?" So
yeah, and also short term, Pats swept the Jets here, and these are 2 teams that are right now fighting for playoff spots. So Pats have that tiebreaker. That's not changing at this point. And that'll be. I mean, that could be the difference for a playoff spot coming down the stretch.
Right.
Which
Right.
that is huge. And I think the other thing, I think it's important that we don't know about Mac Jones yet. We said we need to see what he can be coming out of the bye. We need to see what he can be going into Thanksgiving. Well, this is the best game he played all season, coming out of the bye against a good defense. It was not a great game. It has issues. He's not perfect. He's not. We don't know that he is the guy right now, but you can't say he isn't based on what we've seen. We got 7 more games left of the season. Let's see how it goes.
Yep, it's very true. It's very true. And so we'll see. There's a lot of season left to go. But the Patriots, again, after 10 games played, are in a position to get into the playoffs. And at this point, that's all you can ask for. And if the defense plays the way they did today and last week and the week before that, granted, against offenses that aren't that great, but if they play this well, you just sit there and look at it and say, well, what do you like? You have a chance in any game that you play. And the offense needs to get better, absolutely. But you have a chance in any game you play.
You want to hear something real crazy here, too? If the Chargers somehow upset the Chiefs tonight, Pats are going to be 1 game out of first place for the AFC.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah. This is a position right now where if the Pats take care of, let's say the games we think they should win, which are really the Raiders and the Cardinals one, they pick up a pair of divisional home wins with the Bills and Dolphins. Those 4 wins alone mean that they're gonna have a shot at not winning the division, but winning the conference, depending on what happens
Right.
with some of these
How
other
else
teams.
everyone finishes. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and
It's
that
true.
loss to the Ravens really hurts there. And I
Yes.
suspect the Chiefs probably end up running away with this just based on where things are.
Yeah.
They're not like, and the team needs to improve. It needs to
Right.
be better than the team we saw today for them to get to that point. But they're in a position to do it if they can improve.
Right.
And teams change. It's never the same team every week. No,
It's
it
quite
isn't
true.
for any team in the NFL.
Right. It's quite true. But again, if you play the way you played defensively and you play better than you played, on special teams, I think you got a shot. So, and Dark Blue Gold, I believe, I don't know what Matt's plans are, but I believe we're around for Thanksgiving. Are you around after the game on Thanksgiving?
That is going to be 50-50. I'm
Okay.
gonna be visiting my family that lives up in the woods in Massachusetts. So my
Yes.
dad just got there today and found out when he got there their router wasn't even working. So
So maybe not.
I love my family, but we're also, I think, upgrading their TV service to HD for this
Oh,
one
baby.
because they just upgraded to a flat screen TV from the old CRT in
Oh my
New Year's,
Lord.
like
That's
going
crazy.
29. Actually, the last time I was there to watch a football game was the Pats Titans playoff game, and that was the first game they watched on the new flat screen TV.
Yeah, 2020. That's crazy. So,
Plus,
maybe not. So maybe not. I like that. We'll have you type in beep 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 beep, beep through Morse code. Love it. That's a good call. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'd like to do something afterwards because it is nighttime. It's like it doesn't really matter. So, we'll see. One game that I will. Well, I don't want to say I won't be around for Christmas Eve. I might. You never know. There's a possibility.
Yeah.
So
That Christmas one is very much up in the air. We can also. I think we're doing a show this Thursday. Or sorry, Tuesday. We're gonna have somebody from the Vikings side of things coming on to talk.
Yep. So that'll be fun.
If anybody has any questions they want to ask about the Vikings side of things here too, send them our way, and we can ask them during the show.
Ooh, I like that. So, all right. Well, I think that just about does it. Look, I mean, it was a terrible game. It was an awful game. It was a terrible game to watch. It sucked. It did. It sucked. But it ended with the Marcus Jones punt return for touchdown, which I mean, like, you guys know, it could not have been better for me. It's my favorite game of the year so far only because of that. It's like, well, come on. I mean, like, Marcus Jones is my guy, So I lost it. I absolutely I lost it. Like we're jumping up and down, celebrating. I'm like Marcus, screaming. It was incredible. It was so great. So, oh God, it was so much fun. I wish I had it on camera because it was just so insane. Yeah, and the whole place obviously went nuts because it was just one of those things where it's like, this is going to go to overtime and no one's going to win because no one can move the ball, So it's.
I thought for a second that we were for sure going for Bill Belichick's first ever tie.
Yeah, could have been. It certainly could have been.
I'm going to mention one other thing here before we go because again we talked so much about that Packers game and the decision in overtime. You could see now why Bill might have trusted Marcus Jones more than the offense to score points.
Right. And like someone said, I think it was Dark Blue Gold said it earlier, like it's been brewing. It has been brewing. You've seen this from him. You've seen flashes of this. He hasn't taken one back to the house yet, but you've seen it. And it's there, and he's almost broken it, and then he finally breaks one.
And even without the touchdown, he would have gotten a big enough return there to set up a field goal attempt to go try to win that game.
But once he cut back in the middle, I'm like, oh, it's over. No one's catching him. So
I'm gonna have that on replay all week long.
Oh, so good. It was so good. And that's one of those things for me that, like, from a Jets perspective, they had kicked the last 4 balls out of bounds. What the hell are you doing? Just kick it out of bounds. Why are you giving them a chance? They haven't been able to move the ball. Why are you giving them an opportunity to return? It makes absolutely no sense. That would have been like the Patriots then kicking off deep. Why would you do that? The Patriots squib kicked it because they were like, well, now we can get down there and stop this guy. It was stupid. It was incredibly stupid. And so that's one of those things. And I do say the block in the back penalty that they didn't call was a completely unnecessary block by Mack Wilson, but it definitely wasn't from the back. It wasn't from the back. It was definitely from the side.
On live time, that looked like it was a block in the back, and then
It
you
was close.
rewatch and realize, oh, he catches up to him and then catches him with the shoulder, which is kind of dumb, but also it's
Yeah.
not a penalty. Like
It was just unnecessary.
and,
It was just like the
and the
guy's
refs
not going to catch
really,
him.
we were owed one by the refs anyway after the way they messed up that punt earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
heated. That was bad.
That was awful. That's one of the worst ones you'll ever see. The guy fell down and they called it, and you're like, you
And
gotta be kidding me, dude.
I'm reasonably sure he got a finger on that somehow, the way that ball ended up coming out.
Yeah.
I think he got a finger on it. And if you touch the ball at all on a punt block,
Correct.
you cannot get whistled for roughing or running into the kicker.
And that's the other part of it, is that it was such a bad kick that you wonder, like, did he get a piece of it? And even if there's a question about whether he got a piece of it or not, you don't throw that flag. You just don't. You know, and it was the same thing with that defensive holding, where it was like, it wasn't holding, but Mims sells it, so they got the call. And it's like, it was NBA level stuff. It was bad. So
yeah.
But anyways, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. And like Matt said, we'll be back on Tuesday.
Hopefully the next show, like the football game, hopefully the next show does not have technical difficulties.
Yes, I know, right? I know. Yeah, that was weird. I've never seen that one before. So
they said it was a power issue with the truck there. Did you have anything to do with that? Did you were you going around pulling cords when you were at the
I did
game?
not. I pulled 0 cords. 0 cords pulled by this guy. So it wasn't me. I will not take responsibility for that. But I heard like YouTube TV was down, all sorts of stuff. So no, we're not doing this. So but anyways. So that's what we got. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. And we will see you on Tuesday night. And that will come out probably Thursday morning. So I would think Thursday morning it'll be Wednesday or Thursday. I got to talk to the other guys releasing podcasts. It'll either come out Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what we have. So
sounds
anyways, thanks guys. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you this week.